Welcome back. So around this time last year, before the season started, I'd done a 5 bold predictions for the Magic's upcoming season. And now with the season being only, 3 days away now, I figured I'd come back and redo it, give another 5 bold predictions. Now I will say I used the word bold, but it's not anything like too crazy. It's all in the realm of possibility. And the reason I say that is because I actually, before I went, I put down like 4 before, and I wanted to get some ideas for the 5th. So I kind of went and looked at my video from last year and saw what realm was I staying in. I have the 5 from last year written down on my phone so I can go through them all, because I'm telling you, I was pretty spot on for a lot of it. I think I went 4 or 5. So what I had last year was, number 1 was we would have 1 NBA All-Star on the team. It would either be Franz or Paolo. Paolo did end up becoming a first-time All-Star. Number 2 was we would have a top 5 defense in the league. Once again, another one good. I think we were number 3 we ended off as. And this year I do touch on that again. You'll hear later in the video. And number 3, I said we would have 1 all-defensive member on the team. Jalen Suggs made an all-defensive team this season. Number 4 was actually a pretty specific one that I nailed. I said not only would the Magic make the playoffs, but we would completely skip a play-in appearance and just go straight into it. And I was kind of like giving all these like ways we could do it, and it was pretty spot on when I went back and listened to it. We did, just skip. We were we were the 5th seed. We were tied. I remember it was a whole crazy 3-way tie for it. It was weird, but we were a 5th seed, and we skipped it. And then finally, 5th and final was, I said that we would be in Vegas for the in-season tournament. That did not come true. Luck didn't go our way. We did, I don't want to say we did everything we could, because we did lose to the Brooklyn Nets, but we beat the Boston Celtics. We beat everyone else in our division. We lost because, some flawed rules with the point differential. So, that was my one miss. Everything else I had right on. But yeah, this year I'm back with 5 more. I will say some of them, the ones I had written down, and when I went and compared it to last year, I'm like, oh, these are kind of the same predictions. It's a little amplified, but still, they are still 5 bold predictions for the season. So bold prediction number 1. I do believe that Jalen Suggs will be a most improved player finalist. I'm not going to say he's going to win it, but I believe he will be a finalist. I think this season, with the added pressure of, wanting to get the ball in his hands more, he had a big leap last year. I think he can take another leap this year. I know most improved player usually goes to someone who takes like an all-star leap that wasn't really there before. I don't know if Jalen Suggs is necessarily going to make an all-star team this year, but I do think, with the added responsibility, I think he can take a big enough leap, both scoring and playmaking wise, where he can get his names in those type of conversations. Especially after last night's preseason game, the final preseason game, he looked a lot more comfortable in that game with the ball handling duties than he did in the first game from our preseason. So, and I think the scoring jump will be made. So that is my number 1. Jalen Suggs will be a most improved player finalist. Number 2, I said last year I wanted an all-star. This season, I think that Paolo Banchero, I'm going to put Paolo on this one. I'm not going to say Paolo or Franz. Franz does have some implications on his contract where All-NBA is a goal for him. I do believe that Paolo will be an All-NBA member this season. I don't think he was very far off last season. I think he honestly should have made it. This season, I think he's just going to be better in every way, and I think it's going to be really hard for him to leave him off this season. Even what we've seen from him in the preseason, it seems like the game is really slowed down for him. He can pick and choose his spots more. He said he wants to start punishing the defenders more, using his size, his body. And I think everyone says that, I want to make the defender punish, but I think, from what we've seen from him, I think he's really going to lean into that. And what we saw from ending the season last season in the playoffs, averaging 27 points a game, no, I think All-NBA isn't even bold at all, really, but, that is my prediction. All-NBA appearance for Paolo Banchero. Number 3, this is probably the most bold, I would say, because it's just really hard in this league to have, multiple players on any sort of awards list. Number 3 is, I believe that the Magic will have 2 all defensive selections. Last year I said we will have 1. This season I believe we have 2, because We have 3 all defensive caliber players easily on the team. We really can have 3 if all 3 were, starters that stayed healthy and played every game of the season for 30 plus minutes. I would say we have 3. But, with our injury history and with, just how hard it is to get multiple players on those type of lists, 2 is my prediction. Because obviously we have Jalen Suggs, who just made the team last season. And then you have Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who himself, he believed that he deserved a spot on that list last season. I really think he did. I mean, he's an amazing defender, especially on a perimeter. He's very smart. I was surprised he didn't make it last season, even from a non-Magic standpoint. I thought he was almost a lock. But can he make a reappearance on that list? Will Jalen Suggs keep his name on that list? And obviously, the Minister of Defense is back this season. He wasn't eligible to make any of those things last season because of games played. So I think if games played, the minutes ramp up, the games played are there, it's really, I mean, I don't know. I'm not the voter, but I think if he hits that games played limit and he's playing 25 minutes a night, let's say, I think it's impossible to leave him off that type of list because of how good he is on that end of the court. I would call it a lock. And then, with one of 2, Jalen Suggs or Caldwell-Pope making it, like 2 is, it's bold because it is, like I said, it's hard to have 2, but I think we have the personnel where that is realistic. Now, to have 2, though, you need to be very elite on that side of the ball. And that leads into my number 4 prediction, that the Magic will be the number 1 defense in the NBA. Last season, I said top 5. We were top 3, I believe. This season, I want to go all out. Number 1, we have the best defensive backcourt in the NBA. Sorry, Boston Celtics. I know Drew Holiday, Derek White, they're amazing. But Jalen Suggs and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope have it for me. We have the Minister off the bench. Franz Wagner is a great defender in himself. Paolo Banchero is not a minus defender by any means. He can hold his own. He actually, when you look at the numbers, he's actually a pretty good defender, like from advanced statistics. Anthony Black, elite defender off the bench. Just all around, I think we got better from last. I mean, that's not even a discussion. We definitely got better defensively from last season, just from the in and outs of who we had. We have Anthony Black having a bigger role. Joe Ingles leaving the team. He was getting minutes last season. He was not by any means a good defender at all. If Gary Harris can stay healthy, I believe that Gary Harris right now is still in the rotation for the plans of this team, and he's a good defender himself too. And if somehow Goga Bitadze can get a consistent role on this team, then he just raises it so much more because he is an elite paint defender from what we've seen. I know people obviously love Goga, they love Wendell, they love Mo. That whole center rotation is a whole debate in itself. I think I think the solution is just to go night to night basis, like who's the matchup on the other end. But yeah, I believe we definitely have the personnel to be number 1. We were very close last year, and this year we only got better. So number 1 defense in the NBA is my prediction. And 5th and final prediction, we got to put a record prediction. I don't have an official record. I mean, I can just add it on right now. The prediction is top 3 in the East. Not going to say 1, 2, or 3. Top 3 in the East. I think we all know that Boston pretty much might have that number 1 lockdown unless, teams coming off championships, when they know they're that elite, they kind of, can cruise through the regular season, and another team that's, kind of competing a little harder might catch them. Obviously, the New York Knicks are full of talent this season. The 76ers, I know they're already a little banged up, so that's why I think I'm not worried about them, but I think their injury history, Joel Embiid, no back-to-backs, Paul George already dealing with injuries. I think we could beat out them. Milwaukee's still talented, but they are dealing with their own issues with Chris Middleton. Obviously, Giannis has dealt with some things in the past. So yeah, so top 3 in the East. If I had to put a win number on it, I would just like to say 50 plus wins. That's not that well. We weren't that far off last season, but 50 plus wins would be, we are satisfied by any means with the season. Obviously, we want to make it farther in the playoffs. I don't think it's second round or bust this season. I think just because the East is kind of difficult, it's a lot tougher than it was. Obviously, you get a bad matchup, it could be tough. But I would love to make the second round. I would love to make an Eastern Conference Finals, go on an Indiana Pacers type of run. But I feel honestly confident, playing a series versus anyone that's not the Boston Celtics, and even at that. We've given the Boston Celtics some problems. I'm not going to say we're a real threat to them as of right now. I think in the future, possibly. But outside of them, really, like, if you were to say, could you beat the New York Knicks in a 7-game series? Yeah, why? I mean, honestly, I would say we have a fighting chance. I would say we have a fighting chance them, the Bucks, anyone. But yeah, I feel good. I feel good going to this season. I feel like, you know, if I go 4 out of 5 on these predictions again, I'm just gonna tell you it's gonna be a great season, because 4 or 5 on these, it's a recipe for success. I mean, there's no way. So with that, guys, let me know what you guys think of my 5 predictions for the season. If you have any, you know, crazy ones that you guys want to throw in the comments, I would love to read that, especially if you really want to think out of the box and get really creative with it. I try to do that, but it's just hard sometimes because the NBA is just such a wild place. It's hard to really put predictions on some things, and I got to keep my shooting percentages up for next season. We got to come back and review this next season and see what I shot from the field. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. On that note, guys, if you guys did enjoy the video, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. All my links are in the description below: Playback, Twitter. I really think that's only it. And on that note, I will catch you guys in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.